This month we are placing focus on the Finance Act number 2 of 2012. The public sector is governed by two main pieces of legislation, namely that of the Public Finance Management Act and the Municipal Finance Management Act. For this legal brief, we will make specific reference to the Public Finance Management Act. The Public Finance Management Act number 1 of 1999 regulates how financial management should take place in both national and provincial governments to ensure that all revenue, expenditure, assets and liabilities are effectively and efficiently managed, and it also provides the responsibilities of persons entrusted with financial management in those governments. Essentially, the Finance Act number 2 of 2012 make reference to the following sections in the PFMA. Section 34, Unauthorized Expenditure. Unauthorized expenditure does not become a charge against a revenue fund except when the expenditure is an overspending of a vote and Parliament or a provincial legislator, as may be appropriate, approves as a direct charge against the revenue fund an additional amount for that vote which covers overspending, or the expenditure is unauthorized for another reason and Parliament or a provincial legislator, as may be appropriate, authorizes the expenditure as a direct charge against the relevant revenue fund. If Parliament or a provincial legislator does not approve in terms of subsection 1a an additional amount for the amount of any overspending, that amount becomes a charge against the funds allocated for the next or future financial years under the relevant vote. Firstly, let's clarify some of the above-mentioned terms in section 34. Overspending. When expenditure under a vote exceeds the amount appropriated to it. Revenue fund, the National Revenue Fund or Provincial Revenue Fund. Unauthorized expenditure, overspending of a vote or expenditure not in accordance with the purpose of the vote. A vote, one of the main segments into which an appropriation act is divided and which specifies the total amount which is usually appropriated per department in an appropriation act. Based on this background, we can see that the Finance Act number 2 of 2012 gives approval to the following unauthorized expenditure. For the defense and military veterans, over 40 million rand approved. For defense and military veterans, yet again, over 20 million rand approved. And for the correctional services, over 483 million rand approved. Although the aforementioned amounts might come as a shock, this has happened more than once before. Example, the Finance Act number 42 of 2008, where over 470 million rands of overspending was approved. According to the National Public Finance Management Act audit outcomes of the 2009-2010 fiscal year, compiled by the Auditor General of South Africa, it was found that 19 departments' financial statements were financially unqualified with findings on predetermined objectives and or compliance with laws and regulations. In essence, the above can be translated to the fact that 19 departments did not have adequate financial statements prepared. Lastly, the Auditor General of South Africa explains that during the 2009-2010 fiscal year, the qualified revenue in the financial statements presented by all departments reduced from 43% to a 39%. While the quantity of unauthorized, irregular and fruitless and wasteful expenditure rose from 16% to a staggering 30%. Budgeting is a tool that assists human beings in making predictions about the future. However, one does not intentionally under-budget with the main intention to overspend in the future. As South African citizens in a democratic country, we need to be open-minded. After 20 years of democracy, is the tone being set at the top really all that it seems to be? You decide for yourself.